Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Burke Brigade. I'm Matthew Burke.
And I'm Jennifer Burke.
And we are the Burke Brigade, brought to you by the Liberty Daily.
You're a conservative alternative to the Drudge Report.
Go to thelibertydaily.com. thelibertydaily.com. There were several bombshell stories today, and you would like to start out with one, I believe.
Yeah, the left's latest group that they love, defend, and try to hide who these people really are, Antifa, the violent communists that have rioted in numerous cities around the country, disrupted Trump events, disrupted free speech rallies, accusing them of being white supremacist rallies. Now, granted, it's ever since that one white nationalist rally in Virginia that now every time there's a free speech rally, Antifa swoops in and calls it white nationalist. Nancy Pelosi and what was it, the San Francisco mayor even helped them out, saying that a rally actually organized by a man of Japanese descent, which had one Hispanic speaker and 3 black speakers, were a bunch of white supremacists. That's how crazy it is.
Right, and it's all a red herring. They're just calling, not that at Charlottesville there were, of course, white supremacists there, and that is completely evil, of course. But they use that as a facade, and now they're calling everybody Nazis who they disagree with.
Right. So
because they're communists. They're not fascists. They're communists.
Right. So, we're just hearing about Antifa, and you have people like Chris Cuomo saying that they're just like the soldiers on D-Day who swarmed Normandy. Their CNN proclaimed that they were seeking peace through violence. Media outlets, up until this week, were claiming that they were peaceful.
Peaceful protesters.
That they were peaceful protesters, denying the violence, claiming that there was just a handful, when in actuality there were hundreds.
God bless them. They're just fighting the fascists.
And black, hiding their faces and dressed all in black as they're committing violence everywhere.
In their ISIS costumes.
And this is probably why all of a sudden you have some media outlets saying Antifa's goals are correct, but the means that they're using to get there, aren't always right. Whatever. Their goals are not correct because they want communism.
Even Trevor Noah last night said that, well, he kind of soft-pedaled it. He called them the vegan ISIS. So in a way he's calling them out, in a way he's downplaying it and calling them harmless, as in vegan, as in innocent, as in, pure. And then he said, regardless of how noble their cause may be, their cause is communism. To destroy America and implement communism. How in the hell is that noble?
It's not, but this story right here is probably why they probably caught wind that this story was coming out and figured, oh, we better backtrack and take, some of the things we've said in support of Antifa. Politico, not a right-wing organization at all, the lefties at Politico reported today that the federal government has been worrying about the rise of Antifa since early 2016 and labeled their activities domestic terrorist violence.
Oh, and who was the president in 2016?
Barack Obama was the president.
Oh, a community agitator.
Yep, which is why he chose, no doubt, to do nothing.
He swept it under the rug.
This is what Politico said. Previously unreported documents disclosed that in April 2016, authorities believed that anarchist extremists were the primary instigators of violence at public rallies against a range of targets. They were blamed by authorities for attacks on police, government and political institutions, along with symbols of the quote capitalist system, racism, social injustice, and fascism, according to a confidential 2016 joint intelligence assessment of DHS and the FBI. And you remember, the violence increased as Trump was campaigning.
Right.
And you had stories that came out of liberal organizations that were actually organizing things to disrupt events,
to cause fights, and then blame it on Trump supporters.
Exactly. So, as it turns out, they issued a report in April 2016 when Barack Obama was still president, openly stating that Antifa was prepping for violence.
Oh.
New Jersey law enforcement repeatedly stated that they had cropped up in New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and Philadelphia. And just like ISIS recruits went overseas to train and fight with fellow anarchist organizations. Remember that video that came out of these Antifa goons at these fight camps learning how to fight?
Right. They're trying to overtake the United States, and they should be officially designated as a terrorist group. And anytime they're going to show up somewhere, they should have the National Guard show up and beat them to a bloody pulp.
So at a rally in Sacramento, it said they engaged in several activities indicating proficiency in pre-operational planning. What does this sound like? Pre-operational planning. Who does
military?
That kind of thing? Military or terrorists.
Paramilitary groups.
Yeah, paramilitary groups. Organizing carpools to travel from different places because, you know, those people go from place to place. They're not necessarily residents of that area.
Almost sounds like community organizing to me.
Yeah. Raising bail money to prepare for arrest. Counter-surveilling law enforcement.
Wow, they're so organized.
They're so organized, which is
and it's such a community.
Which is probably why Barack Obama did and said nothing. Remember in 2009, the fake memo? And I'm reading a story from Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire. But remember that fake memo in 2009? Janet Napolitano, isn't she now president of the California Universities or University of California, Berkeley? Where's she at?
I think that's where she's at. Isn't that the place, Berkeley, where the communist America-hating mayor doesn't allow the police to fight these goons?
Right, and protects those who try to shut down speech.
Right.
Any speech that they don't agree with.
Right, because they just call them fascists, and as soon as you call somebody a fascist or a Nazi, then you've immediately labeled them, and then they've started this whole narrative where, well, it's okay to punch a fascist. Right. And who's a fascist? Basically anybody who loves America.
Right. And
who believes in the Constitution.
2009, Napolitano, under Obama's direction, no doubt, issued a report. Remember this, stating right-wing extremism was on the rise.
Oh yeah.
In order to label anti-abortion and anti-immigration groups as suspects. Now, connect the dots, people. I mean, if you're no dummy, you can connect the dots. Look at what Obama did early in his administration. Label right-wing groups, which pro-life groups, he labeled as right-wing extremists, suspect with the prospect of lone wolf terrorism. The report was shockingly vague, but they stood by it. They had no evidence of anything.
No.
So they did this, and then in 2016, 7 years later, when this information came out from the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security about Antifa,
he buried it.
Obama said absolutely nothing. Not only did he say nothing, he did not go on interviews with his buddies in the media and have them ask him question after question after question about Antifa and what is he going to do about it, and is he going to denounce it, and is he going to denounce it harder, or are his words strong enough? Did he act quick enough? No, he said nothing. And remember, when after Trump became president and there were Republican town halls around the country, the word that came out that a group tied to Barack Obama was actually training people on how to disrupt a town hall so that they could cause chaos.
Right.
So is it any shock to anybody that a president who went and stood at a podium at a memorial service for 5 Dallas police officers and numerous wounded who were shot by a Black Lives Matter Marxist radical, that he would spout Black Lives Matter rhetoric, accusing all police officers basically of being racist, and he would stay silent as those people who follow his MO, the Saul Alinsky way, as they continue to rise in his government officials. People want to talk about Donald Trump not listening to the people around him. Barack Obama did not listen to the people around him. Period. In his words.
Well,
period. And he did nothing with Antifa.
I'm going to have to disagree with you right there. He did listen to the people around him, but he separated himself with America-hating communists just like him. He listened to the American people.
What I'm saying is, they say, "Oh, Donald Trump isn't taking the advice of this government group, this Department of Homeland Security and FBI told Barack Obama that Antifa was dangerous. They were violent. They were domestic terrorists." Barack Obama did nothing except sit.
But he did listen.
Probably with his feet on
rolled his eyes.
The Oval Office desk, and smiled as the violence increased.
Right. And why? Because he supports the violence. His silence is nothing but a wink and a nod. Just like when he called, I just had a thought here. Warning, I just had a thought. It's almost like when he called ISIS the JV team, isn't it?
Right, downplaying them.
Yeah, and he couldn't completely go silent on ISIS. The pressure was too loud. But he did call them a JV team. But on Antifa, which was just rising at the time, there was no outrage quite yet. And so he could sweep that under the rug, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it looks to me like there's another story here you wanted to enlighten us about. And these are all hot off the press. These are the stories you get here at the Burke Brigade that people are going to be talking about tomorrow.
And at the Liberty Daily.
Yeah, the libertydaily.com.
So speaking of Antifa. There's a report from the Daily Caller that public school teachers are behind a leading far-left militant group that is part of the Antifa network that is committing domestic terrorist violence, according to our government. The group is called By Any Means Necessary. That's a scary enough name, By Any Means Necessary.
No, that's a pro-assassination group.
Exactly.
It's a pro-assassination group.
That sounds eerily like the Weather Underground type folks.
Oh, of course it is.
If you don't know who that is, that's...
Bill Ayers.
Obama's buddy, who launched Obama's political career in his living room,
and is a domestic terrorist.
Is a domestic terrorist who is now a professor at a university
in Chicago, the headquarters of the Communist Party USA. But I'm sure that's a coincidence.
It's just a coincidence. Just a coincidence.
Yeah.
So one of this organization's BAMN, By Any Means Necessary, one of their most prominent organizers is a woman named Yvette Filarka. She's a middle school teacher and pro-violence militant at, drumroll, ladies and gentlemen, Berkeley.
Oh, maybe Berkeley should be declared a terrorist organization.
Perhaps.
Sounds to me like nothing good comes out of there.
She currently faces charges for inciting a riot for her role in the Sacramento violence. She helped stage violent protests at Berkeley to try to keep Milo from speaking. She defended their acts of violence, and then she threatened similar acts of violence and got Ann Coulter's speech canceled by the university as well. She helped organize the shutdown of free speech at Berkeley last weekend, too. So she just, to her, violence by any means necessary to stop the speech of those that she does not agree with is A-okay. She defends her actions. And not only does she do that, she's indoctrinated. Now, I think this is quite ironic and hypocritical. She indoctrinates her students. She's tried to recruit fellow teachers and her students into her cause, to the point where when she was having disciplinary hearings, the students swarmed the area, and where is it? Swarm the disciplinary hearings. They swarm the disciplinary hearings.
Oh, like a mob.
The district claimed that she and her Marxist group were actively trying to brainwash and manipulate students to serve her own selfish interest.
Shocker.
They called her conduct particularly reprehensible. Now, liberal teachers have for years, this has been the complaint about education, brainwash students.
Right.
I mean, they brainwash students. They felt A-okay with it. But now, they're accusing her of trying to brainwash students because she's doing like Obama revealing. Remember with Saul Alinsky's tactic, it was don't do too much too fast because
right.
then they'll be on to
They'll
you.
wake up. You don't want to wake up the people.
Right.
You want to just you stick it in slowly.
And so perhaps that's why the district is angry with her, because she's doing too much
too fast,
too quickly. But and she's not. Oh, she's still teaching, by the way.
Of course,
she's still teaching, by the way. Their local teachers union sued the school on her behalf when they suspended her for violence in 2016. She was charged with inciting a riot back then too.
And they defended her.
They defended her. And she's not alone. There are numerous people that they've mentioned. A woman in Virginia, a man in Detroit who was elected the president of the Detroit Federation of Teachers. The board charged him with misconduct and removed him from office. He and his wife, also a former teacher, were fired after leading a student protest where students were pepper sprayed, and they sued, got their jobs back, plus $300,000 settlement, and he continues to teach to this day. So this article in the Daily Caller mentions many teachers throughout the country who are involved with this by any means necessary violent Marxist group. And what's even more scary is that these people are actually running people within their organization into teachers' union positions. And the National Education Association, the largest teachers union, they're trying to get them into leadership. And, oh, yeah, that won't be any good for education or diversity of thought in education, which is already severely lacking due to the leftist control that exists already.
Speaking of leftists, the big thing out, the big cliffhanger, is whether President Trump is going to keep Obama's, that's the leftist I was referring to, illegal amnesty DACA scheme. This is from Town Hall, and this is Katie Pavlich. She's awesome, by the way. And this is really what this is all about. Here's what it says. Eligible to vote. Obama administration allowed thousands of DACA recipients to receive green cards, leading to citizenship. They don't, look, the Democrats don't even care about Americans, okay? But they do care about illegals because that is their future.
Right, because they saw with Trump's election that Americans were onto them, especially some of their strongholds and working class whites, and even a lot of union members are onto them.
And they needed to create a new victim group.
They're running out of victim groups.
They've got trannies, they've got homosexuals, they've got blacks, they've got all these victims. Don't let me forget this new story on a new microaggression that's just been manufactured by leftist professors. It's out of this world. I don't know if we have time to get to it. But so that's the deal. Now I'm reading. According to information released Friday, that's today, by Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, the Obama administration not only gave protection to millions of illegal immigrants through DACA, but also allowed DACA recipients to obtain green cards. And there's a link here to the U.S. Center for Immigration. There's already a path to citizenship if you have a green card. So by giving them a green card, you are greasing the skids for them to vote.
That's why with Barack Obama, we always said throughout his 8 unfortunate years as president, you have to look at what the other hand is doing.
Right. And you always have to look at the motive, which is completely unpure. And you have to study his ideology. You have to study who his mentors are. Frank Marshall Davis, card-carrying communist, had a file with the FBI with his Communist Party membership card number in it. That is his mentor in life. I'm sorry, who is your mentor? Who is my mentor? It ain't a commie.
Right.
It ain't an America-hating commie.
His grandparents who were raising him at the time sought out this particular man to be his mentor because, his father was busy carousing in Africa and marrying multiple women.
Getting notches in his belt.
Marrying multiple women at the same time.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's move on.
MoveOn.org.
Dreams from my father. Dreams from my communist father. Who the hell honors their communist father? Really?
Right.
Because he agrees with the ideology.
Yeah.
If the left agrees with the ideology,
it's A-okay.
It doesn't matter. That's why you have the teachers supporting this communist, America-hating, violent Antifa group. That's why you have everybody on the left kissing their butt. Because they agree with the ideology. That's why you have Trevor Noah, a lefty, saying, well, maybe I don't agree with all of their violent tactics, but at least their motives are noble. No, they're not noble, you idiot. You wouldn't even have free speech if they had their way. Do you get it? No, you don't.
He would have free speech because he's on their side.
Oh, yeah, he would. He would. And ultimately, that's what they want. They're okay with free speech for them. Urine on Jesus, piss on Christ. They're cool with that. That's free speech. That's free speech. But God forbid somebody speak out for the Constitution or quote a founding father.
Hate.
You hate. You hate. That's a little third grade game. Anybody they disagree with, they call hate. Speaking of hate, we've got this hate group that calls, this is just so Orwellian. This SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, which I'm telling you, if you do 2 or 3 searches, it's really easy to tell. They're nothing more than a communist front group. They accidentally let out and revealed what their true motive is. They recently released this hate map. Quote, hate map. Which is a list of all the organizations that they deem from on high to be hate groups. Now, who are these so-called hate groups? They're any Christian group of any, notoriety, right?
And any group that believes in the Constitution.
Yeah, if you're pro-family, if you believe that marriage is between a man and a woman,
you're a hate group.
You're a hater.
If you believe that babies in the womb deserve life,
right?
You're a hater.
If you're against murdering babies, then somehow you're a hate group. If you're a pro-America group, or if you're pro-Bill of Rights, like a pro-Second Amendment.
Right.
Second Amendment's part of the Bill of Rights. If you're for the Bill of Rights, then you're a hate group. If you believe a black single mom in Chicago should be able to have a gun in her house so she can protect herself from being gang raped by violent thugs, then you're a hater somehow.
And a racist.
And a racist and a bigot and a homophobe. Well, they slipped up. This is from PJ Media. And they admitted that their purpose... I'm looking at this map here. There's dots all over the country. All over the country. They've got the whole map covered with these so-called hate groups. They call it a hate map. They admitted on PJ Media, this is a story, quote, this is not Matthew Burke making this up. This is not Jennifer Burke making this up. This is a direct quote. Our aim in life is to destroy these groups completely. Completely. They are a hate... this is straight out of George Orwell.
Of a hate group.
They are the hate group.
They want to destroy any group who they
disagree
with completely.
Politically.
But, they have this support.
If you're a Christian, they hate you.
They've been given millions by
George
Apple,
Looney.
J.P. Morgan, George Clooney, and very favorable coverage of CNN as if they are this big altruistic middle of the road group.
Because what they do is
they're just against hate.
What they did was they learned from Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton.
Jesse, he wants to cut Obama's nuts off Jackson.
Oh my goodness! They learned from these professional racial grievance industry profiteers that you can shake down these guilty white liberals.
Right?
You can shake them down and, do this virtue signaling where you can look like you have the moral high ground. Well, I'm against poverty. I am against poverty because I gave money to the Southern Poverty Law Center. So I am virtuous and moral. Not so much. Did we talk about their money laundering last night? I don't remember.
No, I don't think so.
We didn't?
Mm-mm.
Okay, can I just ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How does a poverty law center transfer millions of dollars to offshore accounts? And let me ask you another question. Why would they do that? Why would they do that if they're a non-profit?
Why would they do that? To try to hide what they're really about? Money? Using fear tactics
but
to
people
get
use
money?
Offshore accounts, as tax avoidance vehicles typically.
Right.
So why would a non-profit that pays no federal income tax launder money to offshore entities?
I don't know. Why?
Tell us about this. This was in the Washington Free Beacon last night.
Well, let's see.
Just
it says the Southern Poverty Law Center, they're based in Alabama, by the way. They're a 501c3 tax-exempt charitable organization. They've gained prominence thanks to fake news media like CNN on the left for its hate group designation. They pushed millions of dollars to offshore entities as part of their business dealings. Records show.
No.
And this is from the Free Beacon.
I can't say this enough. They're a non-profit.
Right.
So they're not paying taxes.
Right.
So why shelter money overseas?
Right. Well, I'll get to that. But additionally, they pay lucrative six-figure salaries to their top directors and key employees while spending little. They spend little money on legal services despite its stated intent of fighting hate and bigotry using litigation, education, and other forms of advocacy.
Why?
So basically, they're a scam.
They're a communist front group.
They're a scam. Let's see. They're a fundraising powerhouse. They've had more than $50 million in contributions and $328 million in net assets on their 2015 Form 990, the most recent available tax form for the nonprofit. Forms in 2014 shed light on some of their transfers to foreign entities. The SPLC's 8865, a return of U.S. persons with respect to certain foreign partnerships, shows that they transferred hundreds of thousands to an account located in the Cayman Islands. They list Tiger Global Management, a New York-based private equity financial firm, as their agent.
Does that sound non-profit to you?
No.
Why do they have a non-profit status?
Because a liberal,
if they're laundering money,
right? A liberal president.
So you had the
I wonder under whose presidency they got.
They've been around for a while. So you had the Tea Party not giving tax exempt status. In fact, worse than that, targeted illegally, unconstitutionally,
by
attacking Obama's political opponents, using the power of the IRS to go after his political opponents. But yet this anti-American communist front group, an absolute fraudulent organization that is calling Christians and pro-America groups, pro-Constitution groups, hate.
Right.
Pro-marriage, pro-family, hate.
Well, what's the Communist Manifesto say?
You tell me.
Tear down society.
Yeah, that's what they have to do.
Society, which is
that's
what
they
they're
have to do.
So there are numerous documented international foreign transfers by the SPLC. Here's one for $102,000. Here's one for $157,574. Here is one in March 2015 for $2.2 million to an entity incorporated in the Cayman Islands.
Huh, that doesn't sound like fighting poverty.
And there was another $2.2 million cash transfer made on the same day to another fund at the same address as the other one in the Cayman Islands. What the hell is going on?
What the hell is going on? I thought they were just out to help people that were in poverty.
Right. Their president,
Freaking
Richard
scam.
Cohen, and chief executive officer had what is this about?
Have you noticed that our dog Ray, every time you start talking about commies, he starts barking. Ray, it's okay.
He was given in 2015. He was given a $346,218 base compensation. Base. He works for a nonprofit. What's he getting? Some kind of commission on what? Or what?
So what's the average America salary? Maybe $50,000.
Maybe.
And so this guy's making 7 times that, and he's talking about poverty. How about putting your money where your mouth is, you phony?
Their chief trial counsel received a $329,000, $560 salary with $42 in additional compensation. That president received an additional $20,000 more in reportable compensation and non-taxable benefits. They spent the average. Let's see, the minimum amount minimum paid to an officer, director, trustee, or key employee in 2015. So it was much more last year.
Right.
Was $140,000 in base salary, not including other compensation. I don't understand a nonprofit having an other compensation. What the heck is that?
Slush fund. It sounds like a slush fund.
And in 2015, they spent $20 million in salaries. They claim to have a staff of 75 lawyers who practice in the area of children's rights, economic justice, immigrant rights, LGBT rights, and criminal justice reform.
All the victim organizations.
Okay, so they spent $20 million on salaries. They spent $61,000 in legal services. And they're the Southern Poverty Law Center that's supposed to be providing legal services to poor people?
Uh-huh. I mean, that is... And you know what? I bet if you connect the dots, you will be able to find it goes back directly to George Soros. I don't know why. I'm just going to throw that out there. Because he's connected to
everything.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
I do have to read this from the Vice President of Business and Culture at the Media Research Center, Dan Gaynor. He said, the SPLC is an anti-conservative, anti-Christian hate group that the media have given pretend legitimacy to.
Yep.
One glance at their 990 tax form is a reminder just what a fundraising superpower it is. Its assets are over $328 million in 2015.
To fight poverty.
$13 million in just 1 year. It doesn't need new liberal money. It could operate for at least 6 years and never raise a penny. It's like a perpetual motion machine for fundraisers. You know what? Why don't you guys take that money and instead of these people getting government checks from the taxpayer, you give them money.
Start doling out money and helping
to help
people.
them get on their feet. No, you're doing what leftists do. Exploitation and manipulation.
Yeah, it's just a pro-communist front group. That's all it is. If you rip off the mask, that's all it is. Now, speaking of phonies, we're going to shift gears here to another phony. This one happens to be a phony conservative, Paul Ryan, who came out in support of Obama's illegal amnesty scheme known as DACA, which, like all liberal schemes, is for the children. What Obama did, and it was completely unconstitutional, The court said it was unconstitutional. Shoot, even Paul Ryan at the time said it was unconstitutional.
That was then. This is now.
Yeah, it's a whole different story now. Paul Ryan said it was unconstitutional. But now he wants to keep it or fix it.
Yes,
you can't fix something that's...
anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. No, you can't. Yes, I can't. That's what it is in Washington, D.C. with these pirates.
So here's... Obama said this like 20 some odd times. 22 times, 24 times before he did his executive order saying he was not going to enforce this certain aspect of immigration laws. And he put it in writing through an executive royal edict, like he was a freaking king. Like we fought wars over this kind of stuff to be independent from kings. Yeah, he used his freaking unconstitutional pen and phone. But before he did that, he said 20 some odd times, I don't have the authority to do this.
And he was lying to the people so that he could get reelected and do it.
Right. This was in 2011, for example. There are many more times in this.
The notion that I can just suspend deportations through executive order, that's just not the case. Because there are laws on the books that Congress has passed. There are enough laws on the books by Congress that are very clear in terms of how we have to enforce our immigration system. That for me to simply, through executive order, ignore those congressional mandates would not...
That's exactly what he did!
...not conform with my appropriate role as president.
Okay, nothing that you did very little. If anything that you did conformed with your appropriate role as president, because he didn't act as a president. You acted as a Saul Alinsky acolyte community organizer.
But this is in his own words, admitting what he did before the fact was unconstitutional.
You can't hold him to what he said.
But you would think the opposition party would.
One would think.
And so now I'm going to do a little justified Trump bashing. He's wondering if he should keep it or not. You campaigned on stopping this illegal amnesty your first day in office. Stop it.
Yeah, but remember he then said he met with some dreamers and they've convinced me.
Dreamers. See how they win? They win with the language.
Yeah, but I'm just quoting Trump. I don't call them dreamers. You know what? Who was it that said? They're
not dreamers. Their parents were schemers.
Was it Herman K? Who was it? Somebody said, what about... Somebody said...
What about the dreams of the American
these people
young people?
Refer to American children as dreamers. What about their dreams?
It's the illegals because they need to vote for them. So Paul Ryan said this. This was... I actually wrote this today on the politistic.com.
Thepolitistic.com.
I actually don't think he should do that. Rhino Surrender Caucus leader Paul Ryan told radio station WCLO in Janesville, Wisconsin, which is where he represents, about President Trump's campaign promise to end Obama's unconstitutional amnesty scheme for illegals known as DACA. Quote, I believe this is something Congress has to fix. You mean like you fixed Obamacare? Is that it? You know, and they say, well, it's for the children. The children didn't have anything to do about it. They didn't know they were being brought here illegally. You know, let me just slap your freaking face. Not yours. His. In life, children tragically are negatively affected by crimes committed by their parents all of the time. Look in the prisons. There are plenty of sad cases of this. Did the children of the inmates make the decision for their, father to commit rape or murder or rob a bank or break another law? But are they affected?
Yep.
They're affected. Do we
Yeah.
all of a sudden just throw out the law book because they have children? I mean, if you
obviously,
have children...
laws only don't apply if you're an illegal.
Or if you have children, right?
If you're...
I mean, is that what they're saying?
Well, what they're saying is laws don't apply to you if you're an illegal with children.
If you'll vote Democrat.
Right. I mean, it just doesn't... That's just how it works, you know, for these idiots.
You know, did the children make the decision for their parents to illegally enter and stay in the United States and bloat up the welfare rolls or get free health care and education? No, they didn't. But that does not mean that the crime didn't happen. Their parents came here illegally. It doesn't mean the parents get off scot-free just because they have children.
Right. And don't use the children as a freaking bargaining chip.
They're using them as a human shield.
You can't do it. What about the children?
What about the children, for God's sake?
If that's the case, you know, with that illogic, any parent who commits a crime should get off scot-free because of their children.
Right. No. Only this one. Because studies show 80% of illegals will vote Democrat.
Uh-huh.
Why is that? Why is that? Oh, human nature. Free stuff.
Yep.
Free stuff. But Paul Ryan and his Rhino ilk are so easily guilted by the Democrat media complex and the Democrats, but I digress, that they will bend over forward, backward, or any other way on this issue like every other. All you got to do, and they started doing this in the 90s, I remember under Clinton. The left knows that if they paint Republicans as cold and heartless, they get a blank check. They get whatever they want. That's why you never see any cuts in government spending.
Right.
That's why the deficit grows, sometimes by more under Democrats, sometimes by less under Republicans, but it still always grows. It even grew under Reagan because if they paint the GOP as cold and heartless, they can get whatever they want.
Yeah, what have you always said, you know, how the media and politicians spin a cut as, you know, spin something that's basically just slowing the rate of growth as a cut.
Right. So cutting spending from, you know, the government growing at 7% a year to 5% a year when everybody's incomes are going down is somehow a cut. They outright lie in their language. But the fact of the matter is, Obama himself said 22 times, it was 22, that he didn't have the legal authority, the legal constitutional authority, to make up a new law out of his freaking pen and phone for DACA. So where were Paul Ryan and the other rhinos at the time? They were sucking Obama's kneecaps. That's where they were. And where are they now? They're trying to put pressure on Trump to break a campaign promise. And he shouldn't do it.
Something that they were for.
Right.
Back when they were trying to win midterms.
Right. Back when they were trying to win midterms. That is exactly right. And so Paul Ryan has no credibility on this issue. He has always been a squish on immigration and on borders. And, you know, that's why you see people like Jeff the Flake speaking out in favor of DACA. That's why you see Rhino establishment, John Latrine, John McCain speaking out in favor of Obama's unconstitutional amnesty scheme. They're basically Democrats.
Right.
They're basically Democrats. They're not helping anything.
Democrats masquerading as Republicans.
Right. Let's just take a completely different 360 turn. You have a little bit of a media fail by WAPO, Washington Post, which we call here on the Burke Brigade, the Washington Dumb as a Post, kind of doing a little bit of cover-up of Michelle Obama's lunch program.
Yeah, remember the praise and support that Michelle Obama got for her Let's Move program, which itself was a failure as well. Trying to get kids to kids to exercise more. It's no doubt. It's
and
no
eat
shock.
cardboard pizza.
It's no shock that the Let's Move program was a failure. When I'll never forget listening to one of the commercials for it, when it was basically encouraging parents to lie to their children to get them to exercise. Oh, Mommy, can I have $1? Sure, honey. It's in my purse. I think it's upstairs. I don't see it there, Mommy. Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's on the kitchen table. And she has her daughter running
I'm
all
sorry.
around the
I think
house.
it's 3 blocks away.
And then she says, oh, it's right here. And so it was encouraging parents to lie to their children
lie
to get
their
them
kids.
to exercise.
Imagine
and
that.
so,
Liberals encouraging lying.
Shocked.
I'm totally shocked.
So as part of that Let's Move program was Michelle Obama's Healthier and Stankier lunch program.
That included cardboard pizza.
That included cardboard pizza and stuff that some people probably...
Remember those pictures? Remember those pictures going around the internet?
Pig slop looking stuff.
I'm not kidding you. I don't think
wouldn't
our dogs
even
would
feed to my dog. You know, while her daughters feast on gourmet meals prepared by a sous chef at their school that probably costs $50,000+ a year.
I know.
That was guarded by men with guns. But you know,
they're enjoying
whatever.
they're down for the struggle. They're enjoying their campaign wishes and caviar dreams.
So, the Washington Post reported today that the effort to make school children eat healthier hasn't worked. But they left off one important detail. That it was the Obama administration and Michelle Obama's promoted, it was her signature program. They're putting the blame on Smarter Lunchrooms movement developers at Cornell, saying they manipulated data to make the program more successful. It kind of sounds like climate change.
Make stuff up as you go.
For example, they described a
like
single bite of an apple as a significant increase in healthy food consumption. They also counted how many vegetables students put on their plate, instead of how many vegetables they actually consumed. But they did not at any point in time talk about Michelle Obama's embracement of the lunchroom plan as part of her Let's Move initiative. In fact, Michelle Obama had such a slobbery love affair with the Smarter Lunchrooms movement program developed at Cornell in 2010 that she and her husband convinced the USDA to support it with at least $5.5 million in grants. The grants are another way USDA is combating child hunger and obesity and improving the health and nutrition of the nation's children, an important component of First Lady Michelle Obama's Let's Move initiative to combat childhood obesity. The media gave cover to Michelle Obama on this over and over again as students were tweeting out, putting on Facebook pictures of the nasty stuff they're being subjected to eat. Student athletes were saying that this is not enough food, we're hungry. They want to talk about child hunger? Student athletes were saying, we're hungry, this is not enough food. They could not sustain themselves through PE and practice.
Shut up and eat your cardboard pizza and quit your whining. # we love the government. Go, go, go.
So, when Trump was elected, there was this, is Trump going to cancel Barack Obama's Michelle Obama's healthy lunch program? Michelle Obama was quoted as saying, you have to stop and think, why don't you want our kids to have good food in school? What is wrong with you? And why is that a partisan issue? Why would that be political? Michelle, I don't know if you've seen those pictures of the food, but if you have and you call that good, your definition of good is drastically different than mine.
Now, if this was a Republican, or God forbid, a conservative, every waking minute of the news cycle, CNN would be utterly obsessed with this.
Panel after panel.
Asking they Trump would have every conservative on there. Why do you hate children?
Yeah, why do you want children to die from starvation in America?
Senator Cruz, why do you hate children and want to starve them to death? Senator Cruz, have you learned to not hate children yet? That's what they would be doing. But with her, they provide her cover up. They don't even mention her
name.
She orchestrated the whole damn thing.
Right. They praised her for the Let's Move, but then they didn't. They won't when the program was dramatically unsuccessful on multiple levels, they wouldn't talk about it. Oprah's BFF, Gayle King, who's also, I think she went on vacation with the Obamas and claimed that her coverage of Trump's campaign would have no bearing, or Trump's presidency, would not be affected by her close relationship with the Obamas.
Isn't she on one of the morning shows as some kind of objective voice?
CBS This Morning.
Yeah, conspiracy brainwashing system.
I will never understand the downside to encouraging people to eat healthy. That was in May 2014.
Oh yeah, eat this.
They said that this was just regulation critics. They downplayed regulation critics as being backed by Republicans and
deniers.
They're
deniers.
The food industry. Yeah, but now that it's a failing flop.
Oh, who did it? Oh, we don't know.
Just like everything else that they've done for the Obamas, they provide cover and won't even mention their name.
Let me take a wild guess. What's their solution to fix it? I guarantee you,
more
money. Shocker! Let's just keep failing over and over again, and then the solution is always going to be more government, more money. That's the scam. We're all being scammed by these sociopathic con men and con women, to be politically correct. Okay, so this is actually in the mainstream media, the left-stream media, the Democrat media complex, and it was such a big story that even CBS couldn't do it. Now, I don't know if CBS reported this nationally, but they did locally, so I do give them credit for this. Here's the headline. I'm gonna correct it a little bit. But officials, 3 undocumented immigrants. They always use that term, undocumented immigrants. Number 1, they're not immigrants. Immigrants come here legally. The official term, the legal term, is illegal aliens. So I know the false god of political correctness does not like the term illegal aliens. I know Google doesn't like it. I know Facebook bans people who use it. Tough shit. The legal term is illegal aliens. But they say undocumented immigrants because that's what the Democrat Party tells them to say it. Because it downplays their illegality, their lawlessness. But here's the deal. Listen to this. 3 illegal aliens ran illegal check cashing scheme that laundered. Are you ready for this?
You want to make sure that you're sitting down, folks.
Not $100,000. Not $500,000. Not $1 million. $100 million. Now that's an amount that would probably even raise the attention of the Southern Poverty Law Center. So,
only if they were white.
We've got enough criminals in this country. We don't need to let more in, right? So here's what they say. I'm going to read it the way they wrote it, even though it freaking kills me. 3 undocumented immigrants.
I'll put in the commentary. Illegal.
Yeah, thank you. Aliens from Brazil are accused. They're just accused, so it's not a done deal. Of running an illegal check cashing scheme that laundered up to 100 million. People, that is a lot of coin.
That's your money and my money.
Right. So
taxpayer money.
It gives the names of them. Which most I cannot pronounce. Following a 9-month criminal investigation, all three of these individuals were charged. Now let's scroll down here because here we go. Here is the prosecuting attorney. This is not a victimless crime. These illegal financial transactions have increased the cost of construction in our area, deprived multiple government bodies of needed tax revenue, and placed some of our most vulnerable construction workers at peril from injuries that occur on the job. Authorities seized nearly $450,000 in cash. How do you get that much money in cash? If you take out 10 grand, you know, they ransack you and report it to the IRS.
You can't even go to Chase Bank and deposit $50 in cash.
Good gosh. But if you're illegal, I guess you're an illegal. So they seized $450,000 in cash. We're talking greenbacks and deposit funds, 9 vehicles, 3 motorcycles, and a collection of 30 very high-end watches. Unfreaking real. So listen to this. It is suspected that multiple construction companies, general contractors, and subcontractors are involved in the scheme, and that additional arrests are being anticipated. So it was this total scam operation. And these are not dumb people. I mean, to be able to construct a $100 million money laundering operation and in a foreign country. I mean, that would be like me going to Japan.
Right? Who helped? They had to have had some help.
It's unbelievable. But it is Philadelphia, and, you know, I think Philadelphia is a sanctuary city. Am I wrong?
What was it the Philadelphia mayor said?
Philadelphia freedom. Yeah.
I love you.
Yes, I do.
The Philadelphia mayor said something to illegals about basically having their back.
I love you so much.
Oh, and they're suing
Thank you for invading our country. Thank you for invading.
They're suing Jeff Sessions over sanctuary city funding rules.
Yeah, of course they are. Hey, we're going to wrap up here, but before we do, there was a bright spot. There is some good news. I am, and Mrs. Burke is too, big Steve McQueen fans. Mr. Cool. He was the epitome of cool, was he not?
Yeah.
Remember a couple months ago, when we watched that movie, what was it called? Bullet. With a badass Mustang. God, that was cool. And he had the car chase with the 68 or 69 Dodge Charger. I mean, that was one of the best car chases ever. But Steve McQueen was just an American badass. A lot of people don't know this, but he had a very troubled life, and he was heavily into drugs. He eventually, very late, converted to Christianity. And he said he wished he died early. He died of a disease early. And one of his regrets is that he accepted Christ late, and he didn't have time left to share his faith. But there's a new documentary coming out. This is from Western Journalism, and there's a new documentary coming out, and it's the same people producing it, the Irwin brothers, who, you know, are best known for other faith family films like
Woodlawn.
Woodlawn. Oh, we love that movie. Go see Woodlawn. One word, Wood. LAWN.
Or not go see it because it's not out, but go find it on DVD. We found it at our local library.
Yeah, right. It's available. Not in the theaters anymore, sorry. And Mom's Night Out. We didn't see Mom's Night Out.
We didn't see that, but now knowing that they did it, I might have to watch it.
Yep, that's exactly right. So they're doing it, and it's in association with famous pastor Greg Laurie, Laurie, very well-known pastor, and they made a documentary about the legendary King of Cool, Steve McQueen. And it says here the film will highlight McQueen's troubled life and eventual conversion to Christianity, a subject McQueen said he wished he'd had more time before his death to tell people about. McQueen was the highest paid actor of his era, Laurie said, and I was alive. I know that to be true. He was the epitome of cool. Yet few people know that late in his life, the star of now legendary films such as Bullitt, and that's Bullitt if you want to watch it, The Magnificent Seven, and The Great Escape, began a spiritual journey. So he tried sex, he tried drugs, he tried everything. He eventually tried Christ, and it stuck. And so that's going to be a great movie, and it's coming out. Let's see if I can find the date here. Well, here we have a minute. Let's just listen to this. This is a preview of it. I hope this doesn't play an ad. If this plays an ad, I'm screwed. It might. Hold on.
When you get your flu shot at your neighborhood Fry's Pharmacy.
There's your Fry's Pharmacy ad. Jennifer's quick at hitting that mute button. It'll come back on here. Just a sec. 1, 2, 3. Ready?
Steve McQueen set the action movie template for the modern day era of cinema.
He's singular, and he was the best at what he did. He was the best Steve McQueen there was.
The King of Cool.
He did have beautiful blue eyes. They were sad eyes.
Well, like most people, I've always been a fan of Steve McQueen. Everybody knows he became a big movie star. What some may not know is he was the #1 movie star in the world 2017. He's still an icon, but here's what people don't know about Steve McQueen. The trajectory of his life. He had global fame. He was a heavy drug user, a heavy drinker, and there was a big old hole in Steve McQueen's heart. At a certain point, he disconnected from Hollywood and literally walked away. He didn't want Hollywood anymore. He wanted something else. He was trying to find a life of peace. And a very ordinary man that entered his life that was the perfect person to tell Steve McQueen the answer to the questions he had from his earliest childhood. And here's the story I want to tell. Steve McQueen became a believer in Jesus Christ toward the end of his life. That is a story very few people know, and that is the story I want to tell in this documentary film. And I'm going to follow Steve's life, and it's going to be a story like people have never seen before.
That's going to be incredible. American icon, Steve McQueen. So that is going to come out September 28th in selected theaters. September 28th. You can go to SteveMcQueenMovie.com. We don't get any kickbacks. It's just something that we're excited to see. SteveMcQueenMovie.com. So that's it for this Friday night edition. Episode number 21 already, honey. Can you believe that?
Yeah, crazy.
Of our new podcast here. New and exciting podcast called the Burke Brigade. It's Friday, September 1st. September already. Can you imagine that?
Crazy.
This year was just flying by.
Maybe the cold temperatures will start.
You know what my mom used to always tell me? The older you get, the faster the time goes.
My mom used to tell me that too.
Yep, and it's absolutely true. Time is just flying by. So live every moment, enjoy it, enjoy every moment. Thank God for every moment, every breath you breathe. God bless America.
And I usually say God bless America. That threw me off.
Well, you say something else.
God bless Texas.
I knew you were going to say that. Amen. God bless Texas. Texas forever, baby, right?
Texas forever. Houston strong, baby.
Yeah. God bless Texas. All right. Thank you, everybody. We certainly appreciate you tuning in. Have a great 3-day weekend. And we'll talk to you again on Monday. We're not going to take Monday off. Tune in about this time on the Burke Brigade. We will be here. Thank you so much.